Good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. You are watching the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show. We are super excited to have uh, us up in this morning. I'm surprised I'm up, Kimberly, but um, I'm here. So, what is this show about? This is a show where we like to have inspiration, conversation, and motivation. We like to talk with the people that are watching the show. We like to bring and highlight amazing guests. We don't have a guest today, but it's me and Kim, and we're going to have a great conversation about why it's important to have development in our lives and why we as women should be developing ourselves. So, who am I? Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Women's Institute of Self Development and Efficacy, WISE for short. We are a community that empowers women through coaching, mentorship, workshops, networking events. We have a sub community, a running community for women to encourage health and wellness. So we do all these great things, retreats to get women to the next level in their life. And I'm super excited because I also have an ebook. It's called The Unshakable: How to Become an Unshakable, Faith-Filled, and Purpose-Driven Woman. And that ebook I'm promoting right now, and our challenge is starting. Our 4-day challenge is starting tomorrow morning. It's free to my private community. So I want to encourage ladies. I'm just putting that out there. That's who I am. Kim, take it away.
Good morning, Wise community. My name is Kimberly Montesinos. I'm the owner of Crystal Clear Cleaning. I'm a mom of 2 adult children, Christian and Carla, who I love so much. And I'm also a huge advocate for women, development, personal business. I believe you should start with yourself first. I learned that later in life, and then it'll trickle over into your developing anything else you want to do. I also promote wellness in the home through a online community or an online store called Melaleuca that's equivalent to like a Sam's Club or a Costco, but they deliver to your home non-toxic products. And that's me in a nutshell. And I'm just really glad to be a part of the Wise community and be your co-host today here with Jennifer Sanchez.
Yay! Yeah, Kim's awesome. Kim's been like I always say, she's my OG. She's been around. She's been around since 2018 when all of this started. Um, it was kind of like I have this idea. I want to put workshops together and empower women. And I remember going to Kim and be like, Kim, do you want to support and sponsor one of my workshops? And she was like, yeah. And ever since then, she hasn't left. So thank you, Kim.
That's true. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
always supporting. I appreciate it. So let's go into our fun part of the show that we always go into, coffee time. So this is the part of the show where you guys get to engage with us and let us know what you're drinking this morning. Kim, what are you drinking this morning?
I am taking a book from you, Miss Sanchez and Ms. Sanchez. It is lemon water.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just, I don't know, this weekend my daughter and I had just daughter mom time. We went up to Lake Geneva for 2 days and just hung out. And because she's moved away from home, so those moments are really precious to me. But I ate, I ate okay, and I think a lot of times when you go away from home, your body doesn't feel right. So yesterday morning, I was like, you know what, I need to really kick up detox the body. So I am drinking, as I mentioned, you guys, my Susan Lucci. So I'm drinking that this morning as well.
Yeah, I got the Susan Lucci right here. Uh,
Yeah.
in this cute cup that I got for the White Elephant game. I don't know, it just says Lona
Oh,
and it has like the pretty lips on it. Yeah, it was
it's
one of
pretty.
the yeah, it was in one of the grab bag White Elephant gifts over the holidays when we had that holiday party. So I got that from the game. So I'm drinking the same thing, the Susan Lucci, and yeah, I've been all week. I've been big on detoxing too. One, I was trying to detox because of I had an event where I had to like wear dresses, so I was trying to be kind of mindful of what I was eating. But you know what? The Biggest Loser challenge started as well. So I'm also trying to be really mindful of what I eat because that challenge is it's a 5-week challenge that we put together for women to encourage healthier habits. And look at me, here I am trying to detox, trying to drink teas, drinking more water, right?
Right.
And it's funny because we posted in that group, what do you want to celebrate this week on Friday? And I was like, I lost 8.1 pounds. Like, I'm happy that it went down in the scale. Like, just the fact that it went down, I'm happy. It doesn't gotta be like this crazy amount, but as long as it went down, I'm happy. Um, someone, oh, here we got La Mera. She put, I'm drinking golden milk. This is Mera. What is golden milk?
I'm curious too. I want to know what golden milk is. That sounds delicious.
Or she's drinking milk with a little bit of coffee and it turned gold. That's my only thinking.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
This is
Well, I
my
like
only
golden milk myself.
golden milk sounds delicious. So thank you for sharing. So if anyone else is watching, feel free to share what you're drinking this morning. And even what I've been doing too, Kim, now that I go, trying to be a little bit more conscious of what I'm drinking too, the coffee. Um, I do the white mochas. I don't ask for whip, and I stay away from regular milk. I ask for almond milk.
Mhm.
And now I'm thinking of saying, give me a light pump on the syrup. So maybe like like a light pump on the syrup, no whip, almond milk. That should cut the calories by a lot when you get those drinks.
Right.
Oh, but they're so good. They are
They
so
are.
good.
They are.
They're, they there's something about those drinks. They're like it's crack. I'm not even gonna lie. You know,
Coffee crack. I love it. I'm a coffee crack person. I love coffee. I drink it once a day at least, if not, I used to drink a pot a day, but I cut that out a while ago. But I drink a cup of coffee once or twice a day for sure.
yeah, it was funny because over the weekend I had the 3-day conference with the company that I work for, Andrew Holmes Events, and I was drinking their coffee, at the lobby of the hotel, and it says Starbucks, but as I'm drinking, I'm like, this don't taste like Starbucks to me. Like, usually when I drink Starbucks, it wakes me up. Like I know Starbucks is that strong coffee that wakes me up, but I was struggling, so I was like, let me go to the real Starbucks store in your hotel and get a white mocha. And the moment I drank that, it like perked me up. It woke me up, and my eyes were wide open. But there's something about those mochas that I'm sure the espresso shots they gotta be
Yeah.
they gotta be. That's probably why they're so strong. All right, so there's still time. Share what you're drinking. We'll share it on the show. Don't be shy. Make sure you say hello. This is an interactive show, so we definitely like to chat with the viewers that are with us this morning. But we're gonna go straight into the conversation of development. Me and Kim are big on personal development. When I met Kim, she was constantly supporting organizations. Oh, okay, this is what golden milk is. Here's her response. Okay, this is Lamera. It says Facebook user because she's writing from the private community.
Oh.
So it's turmeric, ginger, almond milk, a bit of honey, dash of cinnamon, warm over stove. Golden milk.
Wow.
Yeah, I have all of those items. I'm gonna try this.
I think so too.
I'm sure there's a lot of health benefits to it. The fact that there's turmeric and
Yep.
ginger right there, you already know. And the cinnamon. I know cinnamon helps with like boosting up the metabolism in the morning.
It's
Um,
also good with cinnamon's also good when you have, I heard, now I'm not a doctor, so please check this out before, but cinnamon's good if you're diabetic. Turmeric is good for inflammation.
yeah, I've
Like,
heard that too.
oh my God, this sounds so good.
Yeah, ginger is good for. It's also an antiseptic, so I know like there's a lot of great
Wow.
stuff to that. We have a couple people commenting. So Isali, who's an investor with me, and she's also a GC. Her and her husband. She said water. Hello, good morning. So that's what she's drinking. Hey, water's good. We always need that water in the morning. And then Liza said protein drink. And then Liza's, bro, that's extra stuff. So it's good. Good. Keep sharing what you guys are drinking. Interactive show. I know people are still probably going to work or doing whatever they're trying to do right now. So like I was saying, Kim, good morning, Takara. We have her also on the show with us. Oh, we have a lot of ladies on today. So
Oh, good.
yeah, exciting.
It
So
is.
Kim, tell me a little bit about your beliefs around personal development, because I know immediately when we both met, that was one of the common things. Like we were both big on pouring into one another, pouring into ourselves first and foremost, right?
Right, right. Um, well, I'll think back to when I met you in 2018. I mean, I really didn't start this personal development journey until about 2013, 15, somewhere in there. Because prior to that, I didn't realize that because I started in corporate so young, I'm going to use the term brainwash because, when you're young, you adapt to what you learn. So in corporate, you learn like you want to do your best. You're trying to climb this ladder. You don't bring personal to work. So in essence, to me, for my personality, and I'll just speak for me because corporate works for some people, it doesn't work for everybody. But for me, what that did was taught me how to mask who I was. So I was stepping into this woman that really wasn't authentic to Kimberly. I thought, being a certain way and carrying myself a certain way would I would become successful. But getting a business, again, I didn't have a coach or a mentor. So the first thing I'll say, just to start off, anyone who has their own business, I don't care if you just started it or you are at the top of your game, you always should have a coach or a mentor.
Absolutely.
Always. Because you have to pour into yourself in order to pour into others. And for me, the first class, I started reading more. People were saying, "Have you read Think and Grow Rich? Have you read the E-Myth book? Have you read 7 Steps to Successful, to being a successful entrepreneur?" Things like this. And I'm like, no, I've never read these things. But I have to say, one of my initial programs was when I was a part of the cohort for personal development with Wise. And that really was personal to me because you learned certain things. And as you know, my biggest thing was boundaries. It was healthy confrontation. Like, confrontation is not something you have to run away from. So when there's a confrontation, I take confrontation as like an opportunity to learn or to problem solve. I don't look at confrontation as I used to, like, oh my God, I don't like confrontation. I look at it as a negative. It's not negative. It's something that we deal with every day or once a week or whatever kind of lifestyle you have. You're going to deal with confrontation, right? So learning and having the tools to deal with things and cope with things in life, I believe that's how you start to personally develop and then put your own flair on it, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And I could share with Kim, for those that are watching. So when I first met Kim, anything I asked, she would be there. Anything, right? She was always accessible to me. But this is the funniest thing, right? Always accessible. Like, hey, Kim, can you come out? She was always trying to go to the events, always supporting, right? And then she took the coaching program and we talked about boundaries, right? And then afterwards, after that, I'd be like, hey, Kim, I need this. And then she'd be like, no, I can't do that right now. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, but that just shows. And then sometimes like, now she says no to me, like, but it's good though. I mean, it just shows, right, that with that, of course, I wasn't trying to take advantage of you or anything, right? I was just asking for support. You always supported. And then the moment that you were like, no, I can't do that right now, I was like, oh, okay. But that you started establishing boundaries, healthy boundaries with people around you, right? And professionals and your friends. And I just thought that was amazing because I didn't realize that that was one of the things that you struggled with until like we got together in that program, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of women don't realize that that is like a struggle. Like, oh, let me set a boundary. And I think like sometimes it's just being able to say, keep your yeses yes and your no's no. It's just that simple, right?
Correct.
And
Correct. Yeah.
and, and I think people make this like, oh, let me talk about boundaries and make this very elaborate thing, right? Let me like post these things on social media and make a big deal out of it. This is my boundary. No, just say you don't even have to be like boundaries. Just say yes, no. Can I? Can you do it? No, I can't. Or if you can't, I've said this before, Kim, if you can't say no right there and then, because people do struggle with the word no, just say,
Hmm.
let me think about it.
Right.
If you need that little
Right.
buffer, right? Let me think about it.
Mhm.
I'll get back to you. And then say no, you know?
Correct.
Um, but
Hmm.
definitely, so we have some comments here. We have Liza said, agree, Kim. We have Yamalet, good morning. Good morning, Yamalet. We have to car boundaries is a positive B word. I love that.
I do too. I do too. I saw that in the chat. I thought that was really cool to say.
Yeah, the positive B word. Yeah.
Positive.
Um, yeah, but Kim, you like you said, you've read a lot of books, to Think and Grow Rich. We have so many. I mean, in our community, we read a lot of books all the time, right? That we try
Right.
to focus in on. And personal development is one of those things that, you don't think about that you don't think you need, but you really do need.
Absolutely. And I think it's also it's not a one size fits all. Like I read books, but I also learned what kind of learner I am. I'm an audio learner and I'm a visual learner. So reading the books, it was good information, but honestly, I do much better in a coaching environment because it's first of all, there's communication. If there's a question, I have someone to ask. I love being in a team and brainstorming. I love brainstorming because to me, when you sit down, obviously with a group of like-minded people, I'm not talking about sitting down and talking mess, crap or, gossip, that kind of stuff. I'm saying actually sitting down like we did in the cohort. When we let's just use the positive B word this morning, boundary. When we spoke about boundaries in the cohort, there were so many other women who were dealing with different types of boundary issues that even though I might not have thought I had that issue, when I heard it from another woman, I was like, oh, yeah, I do that too. Oh my God, yes. So for me, that was eye opening. And then what that did when like for you, like example, you're absolutely right. Your reaction happened a lot in my personal life, and it also happened a lot in my business because people were used to me being a people pleaser. And I have people pleaser syndrome, which I didn't realize I had. I thought I was just a nice person who wants to help everybody, but I get stretched so far that I become it's not quality helping. It's a little bit here and there, and you're spread so thin. At the end of the day, you're just extremely exhausted, and you don't feel like you really poured into anybody. So when I learned that if I have something on my calendar, I can only do so much in one day and I can only help so many people. But I also learned if I can't help you today, I can at least be resourceful to say, I can't do it, but I know somebody that might be able to help you. So that's my way of being able to give back without me doing 100 things at once. But I do know ladies who read books and they change because they're a kinesthetic learner, and if they have a good book in front of them, they can eat it up and start to adhere to what they're learning. So whatever it is that helps you, I believe all it does is to take that action step. But for me, the big thing, no matter how you learn, is who you're around. Because you could read as many books as you want, you could be in a coaching program, but at the end of the day, if you're not around like-minded people who want to do or go where you want to go, it's a struggle, right? I mean, you always talk, we've talked about this before, and it happened to me. That's why I call myself a late bloomer, and I am the last of the baby boomers, but I'm also a late bloomer because of how, culturally how I was raised, um, being I call it brainwashed, or learning the way of corporate. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because corporate brings a lot to a lot of people. It just wasn't for me. I think when you know yourself and know what you want to do and go for it, that's the best thing. And I feel like our young people are really getting more into what is it I want to do. And that's why we had this whole, what they call, when we couldn't find people to work. And, we still struggle with that, because young people are really starting to, I want to do this in my life. I don't want to work like this in my life. I want to make a change in my life. And they're really going out there and trying to figure that out. And I find that a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. And it's true. I guess that makes total sense. And I see comments coming in, and I want to address the people pleasing, because I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I remember when your light bulb went on. That's what Lamera said. I can relate with Kimberly being a people pleaser. And then we have to Cara. She said, "Preach, Kim." And then Lamera said, "And help you apply those lessons. You can read, but if you apply, it will not change anything." Oh my God, that is such a big deal. Let me put the hallelujah hands up. Yes, young people are definitely a different generation. That is a big deal. Like, we could read, and I guess there's application, right? Knowledge without application is useless.
Amen.
Like,
Yes.
knowledge without application is useless. Like, yeah, great. You read all these great books. Are you applying this stuff?
Right.
And if you're not applying this stuff, don't come at me telling me you read all these books, because I don't see nothing.
Right.
Like,
Right.
what do you have to show for the
Right.
books that you
Right.
have read? I mean, this could go with anything if we think about it, right? I guess we could talk about this in other ways, but definitely I think reading books is great, but make sure that you apply them is a big deal, right? Making sure that you have a coach, you have someone to hold you accountable. And I question someone when they don't have a coach. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of have to sit back and observe someone. Like, you have no mentors in your life, you have no coaches in your life. Do you really want to help people, or is that the real intention behind it, right? Like, one of the things that I've always learned, and I've always said, is like, hey, if you don't, you're either a leader or a dictator.
Mm. Wow.
All right, like, because what do I mean by that? Leaders always have someone pouring into them. If you think about great leaders, they always have someone pouring into them in some capacity, and they pass that down to someone else, right? Dictators, do
Right.
they have someone pouring into them? No.
Right. That is something else, because in my business, I I joke around. It's not a joke. I tell my employees, don't call me boss, because a few of them come in and they go, hey, boss. I don't like that term. So when we have a meeting, they'll say, why don't you like the word boss? And I said, I own a business, but I want to be a leader for you guys. I want to be an example. Right. And I love what you just said. And that's the reason why. See what I'm saying about having open conversation. I don't want to be a dictator. A boss is a dictator. They tell you what to do it because I said so. It didn't go. But a leader, they sit down, they listen to ideas, they come together, they brainstorm, they come up with solutions. They care about the people that are around them who want to attain a dream, and a leader wants everybody to go with them. It's not all about them,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
I love what you just said. That's amazing. A leader or a dictator.
And if we even think about that more, like, a dictator will not try to pass the baton down to someone else.
No, no.
a, a dictator, or someone that has that mindset, will hold on to that for themselves without thinking about, how can I support someone else's dream, someone else's vision? How can I inspire someone else to do great things, right? Like,
Right.
I personally am the type of person that, and I love this, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm going to share it. Like, when people come up to me and say, I love your posts. I love what you talk about on the show. You inspire me. And even all this weekend in my investment community, a lot of the investment community I'm around don't really know what I do on the development side because I don't really share those worlds with one another, right? And a lot of them were like, "Oh my God, I love your posts. I love that you run in the
Mm-hmm.
mornings. I love that you
Mm-hmm.
do. What the heck do you do? Like, what do you do outside of here?" And
Right.
then they'll be like,
Right.
like, where do you find the time to do all this? I'm like, I'm just, and I guess is there's a system for me, right, of how I operate. But and for you, Kim, you're a leader, right? You also lead. You want your teams, you want to support others, you want to pour into other women. That differentiates leadership from dictatorship. You-
Amen.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people miss that. And I used to have this great boss going back to in the nonprofit world, and Diana Sanchez. She was we were not related, but her last name was Sanchez too. But she was great at like supporting the vision, supporting your ideas. She always tried developing someone else in the area, and
Right.
she threw me with the wolves at 20, 21, 22, 23, around CEOs, like go connect with these politicians. Like what? You know? But people like that, we need people like that to like develop you, and it's critical. Um, Let me
And
see.
that's why my team right now, I remember in 2020 it was survival mode, right? It changed so many things, and we all looked at COVID while we were in it as shocking, as negative, as uncertainty, what's going to happen. And yeah, there was some, it was a struggle. My business went from down to zero, like back to where I started in 2004. But the beautiful thing is, my staff right now is half what we would call OG, like you would call me. And then the other half is very new thinking, innovative young people who don't necessarily trying to figure out their way kind of thing, right? Or they might be in a certain situation right now and they need help. But when I sit down with these young people, a lot of people, I mean, I was on that board for a minute. I was on that little pity party for a minute about people don't want to work and what's wrong with these young people and blah blah blah. But it's all about communication. When I sat down with these young people and I talked to them, which I do, I spend quite an amount of time with my employees. It's amazing. And now I say to myself, darn, if I thought like that when I was 25, when I was 27, maybe in my early 30s, when I was having children in my 30s, my two kids, I had them in my 30s. But let me go back to in my 20s. If I would have thought like that, where I would be in my life, and I learned from them instead of looking at it like, why don't you want to do this? And why don't you want to do things my way? Right? That's what it's, what do you want to do? And how long, let's set goals. Like we set goals in my business, and they're personal goals. They have nothing to do with my business, and they get to see them. And that's why I'm excited about my office, because I put their picture up and I put their goals up so they
Oh,
can come in the office and see that. But, and then my other staff that's more used to how I think, they're a different dynamic, and you just learn from people. And the one thing I said the other day when we had a meeting is, we're all different. We have different cultures, we have different thought processes, we have different goals, and we're different people. Like, we're not cookie cutter people. Each person on this earth is unique. God made us unique to who we are, right? And if you lead with respect to each and
mm,
every individual that walks on this earth, it changes how you look at somebody, because we don't have to always get along or understand one another. But if you respect that person, their ideas, their culture, their dream, right?
mm,
What do they
mm-hmm.
want to do? If you respect how they want to, make a change, instead of, oh no, that's not a good thing. Hey, you know what? That's what you want to do. Let me see how I could help you. Just change your verbiage and how you want to see things. Don't always think about you. Just think about that. just for that moment. Lead with respect. It really changes things. I know we're getting off a little bit off the tangent of development, but that's part of development, because this world is very ugly right now, and everyone, I feel, is being so selfish in their thoughts, and this is how it should be. We should go back this way. We should go forward. Why don't we respect one another first and really stop being fearful of one another? Maybe that might help a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I just really believe in respect. I always say, people, oh, Kim's so nice. And yeah, I am a nice person, but don't disrespect me, because then you'll see another Kim, right? And I say that because it's really important to respect. And I encourage anybody in the WISE community, wherever you're at, join the cohort. It's a great segue to figuring out what it is you might need. I don't want to say help, but yeah, like help with. And then once you learn that, I also feel like, for example, I'm not great at numbers. So I was beating myself up like, oh my God, I should be able to know this. I should be able to do this. I'm a business owner. And what I learned in the cohort is, no, I don't. I just know I need to know the basics, and I need to delegate that. Because what I'm good at is what I should be doing every day to build my business, not what I'm not good at. And don't beat yourself up. God didn't make us to be great at everything. He made us as a gift to be. We all have a gift, right? So embrace your gift and delegate the other things that you're maybe not that great at. But if you're a business owner, you should know about what that is. So when you look at it, you're not oblivion to what you're looking at. But you don't have to be great at everything. Just embrace your greatness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That preach, Kim. That's awesome what you said right now. And I hope it inspires someone, because that was some good stuff you just said. Let me go share these comments as you were talking. Someone said, yeah, you even have it in your program to contact those you need to mentor you. I do. I'm like, I do. There is most definitely a difference between a leader and a boss. The word boss is thrown around as a positive thing, yet the meaning and actions of the word are major. They are. And I totally get where you're coming from, Takara. Yes, love that mentality. There is a difference between a leader and a boss. Absolutely, absolutely. Takara put the different generations within the workforce is needed. Yes,
Amen.
very much so. I think people nowadays are thinking of having their mental health and family as priority, and it's all about flexibility. Yes. If you do the research within different generations, you will see there is one major component of communication that was introduced within their generation.
Wow.
So, yeah, that makes total sense.
I love the feedback of the ladies this morning. We've had some really good interactions the last couple of weeks. I really love it.
We have. And, over the weekend, I actually just found out, and again, this is like going on a tangent, but, we have millennials, and then you have the Generation Z, right, which is my daughter and the teens right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But then you got alphas, like the Generation Alpha is called.
I didn't know that.
And I didn't know that either until one of the kids of one of the investors, and that she's part of the sales team in the community. He showed the generations, and I said, Generation Alpha, like, how old am I now that there's another generation, which is, I want to say, I think it's my baby's generation, right? Like the little ones right now. That's their generation. So I'm sitting here like, oh my God, we have all these generations, all these things that we need to learn from one another, right?
Yes.
And that's a big thing, is listening to the younger generation, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, this is their needs. How do we meet their needs, right? A good leader is going to say, well, how can I pour into my team? What are their needs? How can I support them? And humble yourself. I think one of the biggest things that humble yourself. Like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Like, if you got out of pocket, you got out of pocket. Like, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, I can admit when I got out of pocket, I will say, I am sorry. I got out of pocket. I disrespected you, or I didn't mean this, or I apologize, like, or I was XYZ. I have no problem this is one of the things, like, I think it takes more strength.
Yes.
It takes more strength and vulnerability and bravery to say, I'm sorry, I messed up.
And grace. Yes.
And
Yes, it
grace.
does.
I think that takes more strength to say, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That wasn't right. Like, because someone to be and this trips me out when someone gets upset, like they did you wrong, but then they're mad at you because they did you wrong. That makes no logical sense to me. Um, let's.
I just say I love what Yamalet. I love Yamalet. She's just such a beautiful. All of the community is beautiful, but her and I just love her. I love what she said. She said, and this is very true. Being a business owner, this is what I've had to learn, and this is where I'm going to use this word as very cliche, but I did have to pivot. Is she said, I think people are now thinking of having their mental health and their family as a priority. And let me say this to you, Emma, amen to that, because my generation, the baby boomers, you did not take your personal, your family was not a priority. It was work. You didn't take your personal problems to work. And you know what? I've learned that all of those are very important, because when you have someone and you're pouring into their mental health and understanding where they're at in their life, and you understand that they have families, like most women, for example, I'm a mom. Yes, my kids are grown and they're doing their own thing. But I didn't forget where I came from. I know the struggle of having two little babies and having a business, right? And or working. So nobody cared about my mental health, not even 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay. Nobody cared about my family when my kids were little. My boss back then in corporate wasn't like, Kim, how's your son and your children doing? Did they get over the chicken pox? Did they get over blah, 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 blah? No, it was like, you know what, that project that you were assigned is not finished, and I need the deadline by X, Y, and Z. Nothing was ever asked about my personal life and business. That dynamic has changed significantly, and young people are not standing for people who don't listen to their voice. And that was something that I had to learn, and I don't look at it as a negative. And mental health is a real thing. That'll be it. Maybe we could talk about that next time, Jennifer, because
Absolutely.
that's huge, and it needs to be addressed, and it doesn't need to be put on the back burner, because this is how this is how the young generation interacts with people nowadays, and they're very honest and vulnerable about it. And it's just something that's real. It's not we I never ever talked about this growing up. There was no such thing, and this is not something new. This has been in existence for years and years and years, generations. Talk about generations. This is rooted in us, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say I take it in a positive way, because now I'm learning about mental health. I'm learning how to approach that, even have mental health professionals partner with me. So if I need to refer somebody in my business to them, we have some resources. And flexibility is huge. People aren't about like working them like a dog and then saying, I don't care about your kids, I don't care about nothing. And that's a beautiful thing, because when you find people who will work for you and want to do better for their lives, and you just show them that you care and they're not a number, they're actually a part of, we're all a part of this big success together. It makes a huge difference in wanting to come to work in the morning.
I agree.
So I just wanted to say to Yamalech, thank you for sharing that, because that's a big thing that I've learned in the last 2 years. Huge. And it has touched my heart and changed me forever of how I look at things and go forward. So thanks for sharing that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Yamala. I agree. That's good, and that's some good points that you shared. Oh, and she commented again. So here, hold on. We have my daughter Hayden. This is Mary, who is 11. Is all about boundaries and self awareness, and let me know when I am doing too much, because she needs time to herself. That's good for her. Good
Yes.
for her. Yes, after last year, I'm now trying to make sure that priority is my mental health and family, because honestly, work will let you go as quick as possible. But I was blessed with a manager this year that made sure my family came first. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And then we have Erin. She wrote, "Hi, ladies. Great to see your beautiful faces."
Oh, hey, Erin.
Yeah, so I'm glad that, this is there are good managers, there are good supervisors, there are good bosses out there. And one of the biggest things is, regardless of who you work for, you need to get your own development. That's
Yes.
point blank, right? Because our bosses and our supervisors, and if you have a shitty boss, excuse my French, or you have someone that you're not happy working for them, then maybe it's time to consider, I need to be responsible and a responsible adult and get my own feeding, right? And develop myself, because honestly, personal development and business and professional development and spiritual development, all these developments, they really help you survive
Mm-hmm.
a toxic environment. They help you thrive with toxic bosses. They'll help you thrive with a toxic spouse. They'll help you thrive with toxic relations. If you really think about it, right? If you are constantly developing yourself and you're learning about, boundaries, you're learning about caring for yourself, you're learning about, humble yourself, grace, you're learning about, you're pouring into yourself constantly and you're developing yourself inside. And let's say you do struggle with someone, well, this is going to help you handle that relationship. This is going to help your mindset on how to deal with these difficult situations. Because, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these books that we do learn from is because these authors went through something.
Absolutely.
And they're sharing their exit, their strategy plan. They're sharing what they've learned and how they've overcome and
Mm.
what they've done to become who they are. And you are taking that information for yourself. So if you are in a difficult situation, the first thing you definitely need to be doing is developing yourself.
Yes. Amen. Yes, absolutely. And the development, if I might add, takes you from surviving to thriving.
It does.
Because if you don't have mentorship or you don't have some kind of coach or guide, or community, I think they all collaborate with one another. You will continue to stay in survival mode, and you'll know when you're in survival mode when you're like, I'm a good person. Why do bad things always happen to me? How come when I get to point A, I fall 5 steps down? When you start to see like a rabbit or a dog chasing its tail kind of syndrome, then that's like an indicator that you want to get out of that. Like, because let's just face it, ladies, the world is based on yin and yang. I call it the good and the evil, the devil and our our Father God, right? Whichever which you believe in, it basically there's good and evil. So when you're not in the place where you're supposed to be, you'll feel a lot of resistance. You'll second guess yourself a lot, right,
Mm.
Jennifer? You feel like your that higher power, that entity that you believe in is telling you this isn't right, there's something wrong. And that's what I learned in my life was survival mode. And I am definitely a survivor. That's why when COVID hit, I went right when you learn how to survive, it's almost like, okay, when it's time to go there, you know how, because you were raised, you know how to survive, right? But
Mm.
my goal is to thrive, right? I've survived a lot of number of years in my life, and I thank God that I was a survivor and I am a survivor.
Mm.
But my goal is to be a thriver. And when you thrive, it's
Mm.
because then you've clicked over to attaining those goals, to now you're pouring into someone. Now you're waking up with that robust feeling of this is another day, and I'm glory to God, I got another day to go out there and do my thing. Your whole mentality shifts, and it's like a click. It's like a click. It's just, it doesn't go from dragging to why me to what can I do? I want to get out of this. I don't know how to. Hey, it's a beautiful day, whether it's raining, it's snowing, it's sunny, right? You wake up with um a different mentality, a different feel. And that's when you're whatever you want to do, it starts coming to you. Doors start opening. Look at your story. Like, you shared the story of me when I met you with the boundary. your story that I can share for you, where I see where the door opened to thriving, was when you put out there, I've always wanted to be an investor. I don't know. When you put it out there, it came to you. And you have to, when you're in survival mode, you don't see a lot of opportunity, because you're what is it? You're dog paddling water, right? But when you're in thriving mode, you can see those opportunities, and you know what? They come to you, and you're like, oh, there it is. Let me go that way. And that's just life. It's a journey of opportunity. It's a journey of learning. It's a journey of sadness, joy. It's all those things in one. But I know that this community, I know Jennifer's goal and my goal for the community, and any lady that I meet, is wherever that is that you want to go to, we want to help you get there. And I want to help most women. If I can touch one woman a day, a week, a month, and she's going from surviving to thriving, and she's learning who she really is, and she's embracing herself, she's loving herself, she's developing herself, that's a beautiful thing. And that's not cutting out the men in our world, but I'm talking about our women right now, right?
Yeah, men get it easier than women. Let's just say that. Like there is not as many and not as many obstacles or barriers or things that women have to deal with compared to men. I mean, let's just be honest, right? But I definitely wanted to add something, because while you were talking, you brought me to it's something that women could check out: Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So
Wow.
this is one thing that I learned in my master's program last year, where it's a theory from this psychologist that if you don't meet your basic needs, so it's a pyramid, and your first need is the physiological needs. You first got to meet those needs. So most people want to make sure they have shelter, they have food, they have income, right? You need to meet those needs first, right? For you to feel safe. Then you go up, and then you need your safety needs, right? Health, prosperity, security. Then you need love and belonging. So this is hierarchy. But if you don't get your basic need first, right? Air, water, food, shelter, sleep, reproduction, that need, you're not going to think about safety, love, esteem, developing yourself. Then you have safety needs, right? Employment, health, prosperity. Then you have your love and belonging, whereas that's where you want a family, intimacy, friendship. Then you have your, like, so until you meet basic needs first, it's really hard for you to get to the top part, where it's developing myself, right? You need to meet the survival needs first. And that's why, like, you have all these organizations that help homeless, that help, low income families, right? Because you're just trying to get them. It's hard to get a person that's just trying to meet basic needs to look for, oh, let me develop myself at the top of the tier. It doesn't, in his theory, it doesn't really work that way. But it's a theory. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I wanted to share that because I thought it was really fascinating when I learned that. So you guys can Google that or read about it on your own. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But that's what's going to your point, Kim. Like, you're just paddling because you're in survival mode. You're just going around in circles. You're trying to catch your tail and you never catch it because you're not meeting your basic foundational needs first, right?
That's amazing. And that's why we have so many, when people are like, when you group people, and I won't get into that, but when you group certain cultures and certain individuals, and you're like, oh, they're never going to go anywhere, that's just how they are. You don't look at those basic needs. And most people who are, that's a great point, Jennifer, because most people who are in survival mode are struggling with the basic needs. So
Mhm,
that's why
mhm,
we want to help as many people as we can who want to be helped get those basic needs, so they can start developing, and then we can have a more productive, women and people can have a more productive life. So I'm glad you shared that. That's a really I've heard of Maslow's law in college, but this is a
mhm.
different one. So that was a great add-on to
Yeah,
understanding the mentality, right? Absolutely.
yeah. It definitely helps, right? It helps. So I just wanted to share that with the viewers, and I want to share that so with all this being said, I know we're gonna reach upon the hour, and I know we have a lot of women communicating. Let me see if anyone's commented on anything. We have Yamilet. She said, "Yes, we can stop learning, and accountability is a definitely key. I tell my friends and family, I choose who I want to be surrounded by. The behavior of others can spread, and you want to make sure it's good and not negative." That's true. Like,
Yeah.
what's the saying? Show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yep.
You know, show
My
me.
I'm showing my age. My mom used to say, "Birds of a feather flock together."
I've heard of that too,
Yeah.
which is true. So I mean, and that's not to say like you can't, love on other people, right? But it's like, who are you spending the most time with, right? And
Right.
being careful of who you're spending most of your time with, because it can be, it you definitely can spiral down. You can be set back. You can be taken back if you're hanging around the wrong people. Absolutely. So I'm going to share real quick. I wanted to share my screen real quick and share. Give me 1 second. The 4-day challenge that's taking place right now. So you guys see this. We have our challenge starting tomorrow in 22 hours. I love that it's a countdown right here. We have our ebook link here. If you want to download the ebook, right? It's the free ebook that I wrote called "Become an Unshakable, Faith-Filled, and Purpose-Driven Woman" by Jennifer Sanchez. So join us in the mornings, right? You can put your information here so that you can get a reminder email. But basically, what's happening is we're gonna be. Did it stop sharing? Because I'm not sure if it's still sharing.
Yes, it did.
Okay. Um, but we're gonna be putting this challenge together. So let's say you're not into development, you've never done personal development, you have no clue. Like, I've never had a coach, I've never been part of a community, I've never been held accountable to something. And for those that are like a seasoned that have done and you want to try something new, this is still for you. Don't run away from this. But we want to challenge women for the next 4 days. And I did this last year, and so many women took the challenge and loved it, and it inspired them. I wrote this ebook in the point of my life where I was just really fired up, and I was fed up. I was fired up. I was just in this mindset of just, like I just like, so I wrote, that's the only way I could even explain it. Like, I just wanted to like tear something up. So I wrote this to kind of just take out whatever was frustrating me at the moment and where I was at mentally in my life. And I remember, like, I've said this in other videos, but some of the women said, "Jennifer, I got fired up. I got shook. I got shook after reading this book." And it's not a hard read. It's like 4 or 5 pages. I didn't do anything like crazy or lengthy, but it definitely shook and stirred up something in women when they read this. And I really want to challenge ladies to take the challenge tomorrow. It's every day from 7 in the morning. We're going to gather to 7:45 in the private Facebook community. I'm going to actually teach, and we're going to go. There's a workbook. If you upgrade, I believe it's for $29, you can upgrade and you can get the workbook and you get a private mastermind session. But if not, just go to the challenge, right? And, just watch along, learn the lessons that I'll be teaching for the next 4 days, which is going to be powerful. We'll have some, and for those that are VIP or those that are WISE members, if you are considered a WISE member and you're in the membership community or you're VIP, you get to jump on the Zoom with me. There'll be a Zoom link shared with you, and you can actually be on the Zoom with me, conversate with us, chat with us in the chat, have your questions answered live. Um, so it's going to be a really impactful week this week. So please, ladies, take advantage of this. Read the ebook tonight, because again, in that page, I believe I have it. If you see the comments, you can probably find my 4-day challenge on the link tree. The link tree, it's on this broadcast on the comment section. There's a link tree there. You can find the 4-day challenge there, and just try it. and see what happens. And come for the next 4 days. Be open, be willing to learn, and see what it does for you. And the 4 day challenge, I'm telling you, I've had women, they got inspired within those 4 days, they got shook. So that's all I'm gonna say. I want to encourage you guys to join us starting tomorrow, 7 a.m. Yes, it's in the morning, but it's worth it, because I also do a lot of things in the morning because I am a mom. I am a mom. I have little ones. I can't be doing things all the time in the evening, or and I work as well, and I'm an investor, and I run this organization, and like people wonder, well, how do you do all these things? Well, we're all creatures of habit, and I have like a way that I operate already that's been instilled in me for so long. So I know it might be more difficult for me to do things in the evening. So I do things in the morning. I know I always run on Sunday mornings. I know I always go work out early in the morning because I know that's how I have to kind of structure my life. And then when I do schedule myself, I'm even more disciplined. So it's definitely something I want to encourage ladies to sign up for. It's free. It's going to be fun. You get to meet new ladies. If you're VIP, you get to engage with the members. Martha did take the challenge with us, I believe. Good morning, Jennifer Sanchez and Kimberly Montesinos. This is a great challenge. I read the book and it's to the point and it changes your life. See, look, Martha, you're awesome, Martha. So I hope
Yes,
Martha,
it is.
and I want to challenge Martha to do it again, because I want to see, because, right, just because you took one course one time doesn't mean that it's over. When you take it again, you
Oh
get a
yeah,
whole different perspective.
right. I
And it's
agree.
Kim, it's so funny. You were there when we were having the conversation. I was like, should I just share the replays from last year? Like, to do it again this year? And Amel and other women, Mary from the community, were like, no, you're a whole different Jennifer now. You're going to share a whole different perspective now. It's going to be different this time. So I was like, very true. So I was like, okay, well, I'll teach it. So definitely join us at 7 in the morning. It's going to be exciting. And then that's it. So do you have any final words, Kim, to share with our viewers?
Oh, I am really loving you ladies coming out and joining us. We work on our guests, but last week, Jennifer and I just organically started just having these conversations, and I just love the engagement. And thank you for that. It just makes it makes it magical. It makes my morning coming here on Monday morning. It's a great way to start your week, man. It's positive. We're learning stuff. We're engaging. We learn new coffee things, new drinks. I love all the engagement. I don't know, new ladies. Takara, Nicole, great. You had everybody, Yamalet, Liza, always everyone, Mary, it just really encourages us and it inspires us to be on here in the morning. So thank you for your engagement. I just really, really appreciate and love it.
Yes.
And thank you, Jennifer, for hosting this and having this community for these ladies. It's a beautiful thing. And that's why I've always loved supporting you.
Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Yeah, that's one of the biggest, that fills my cup, right? That fills my cup, is like giving back, pouring into others, right? That for me is that's my happy place, right? Like knowing that someone's life was changed, or someone changed in some capacity, someone was influenced in some way, someone was inspired in some way. That makes me feel good about myself, and I know it's like, this is what I'm called to do. So thank you so much, ladies, for watching. Thank you, Kim, for being a co-host and being on early in the morning with me, every morning. I know I always ask for 7 a.m. events, but it's okay. That's how we operate. All right, ladies, have a great rest of your week, and sign up for the challenge and get your ebook. God bless you. Have a good week. Bye.
Have a great week. Bye.